What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Texans franchise. We've got episode 17 today, and it is finally time for the offseason, our second offseason of the series. And I've been putting this thing off, guys. You guys know it, and I think you all know why by now. But I can't put it off any longer. It's got to happen. So we're going to just march forward and hope that we don't get the ugly Madden 23 glitch. If we do, I have some plans to work around it, but the show has got to go on. So we're going to just go ahead and get it taken care of. But first, before I do that, make sure you guys drop a like, hit that sub if you have not already. You guys know how much it helps us YouTubers out, and I would appreciate it so much. So let's take a look here, and we'll start with the retirements. So we did lose a couple of players this year. Nobody of importance, I would say. Deshaun Gibson, strong safety. And of course, center Justin Britt decided to hang it up. A little bit more surprised about Britt than I am Gibson, considering linemen usually tend to play a little bit longer. But, you know, it is what it is. We'll have to replace him. And it looks like some more not really interesting names. Oh, Calais Campbell, he decided to hang it up after 16. That makes sense. Just sort of scanning here. Taysom Hill, I'm glad he's gone. I hate that guy. Like, no offense to Taysom Hill. I don't have an issue with him as a person, but I'm so sick and tired of people acting like he's good. I really am. So I'm glad he's out of the series. Might be a little harsh, but it is what it is. Jason Pierre-Paul is gone. Cam Newton hanging it up. Jerry Hughes, he was on here on our first season. Same with Mario Addison. Pernell McPhee, Justin Houston. So a lot of the names that I sort of expected to start coming off of or retiring soon. I'm just seeing if there's anybody crazy out here that decided to retire. Nope, nothing crazy. Okay. All right, so just to recap here, we have a few people left that I have already decided that I just do not see a point in bringing back at this point without at least seeing what's available in free agency. If we can find somebody better. Eric Fisher, now 33 years old. I do think that he is a valuable reserve player for us and a good backup. We had to rely on him a couple of times this season. But I just don't know if it makes sense to bring him back when we can still bring him back through free agency. Gerard Wilson, just do not see the point in that. I would definitely rather bring somebody on either through the draft or through free agency. Tavier Thomas as well. Trey Sermon, we don't really have a spot for him. Pierce is back. I just signed him for that one game as sort of a guy that if we needed somebody to rely on, but we ended up not needing him. So one and done for him. John Feliciano, still same as Sermon, just a fill-in because of injury. Malik Collins, maybe, depending on what he wants for a contract, but I want to see what's available. Denzel Mims, I liked Denzel Mims, and I wanted him to succeed here, but it just didn't work out. Nico Collins pretty much stole whatever hopes that Mims had of being on this roster because he really outperformed what I expected him to this year. And then Tyson Williams again, getting up there in age, rather have some younger guys and just see what else is available. We can always bring any of these guys back through free agency if we really want to. So for that reason, all of them are going to hit the market here. All right, and we have some new stories to look at here for the draft. It was always going to be a race for Tony Sweeting to get healthy, and unfortunately, he missed this opportunity to test for scouts. So another one just like Walker, who will not be participating in the Combine. And then we have a whole bunch of stuff here, it looks like, from Combine Reports. So for those who have seen his dunking videos on social media, it is no surprise to see cornerback Anthony Vanover at the top of the vertical. And then it is a big red flag when a player comes to the Combine well over their playing weight, and wide receiver Isaiah Michaels did just that. Incredible Combine from Washington State wide receiver Jimmy Bates looked as prepared as anybody and made the most of his opportunity. That's something interesting to keep an eye on. Another one for wide receiver. Wide receiver Addison Woodyard might have posted the slowest 40 at the Combine. However, he looks like an Olympic sprinter in comparison to my 40. Well, I thought there was going to be something of relevance there. I was wrong. Really hitting home on the receivers. There are times when a prospect's tape doesn't match his Combine performance, and wide receiver Corbin Atkins is the perfect example. The last one about a left tackle, Donnie Bishop on his Combine. A few coaches reached out to say they were impressed. He felt he was the best left tackle there. All right, let's go take a look at those guys quick. All right, starting at the wide receivers. So Jimmy Bates, who at one point was down in the 5 or 6 range, if I remember correctly, is now listed as the number 2 wide receiver in the draft, as he had the story about being the most prepared and just had an awesome time at the combine. Let's see what his combine numbers are at. So he had a 4.49 40. Not the best, especially for somebody sub 6 foot. Decent 3-cone, decent 20, not the best. Once again, we don't know a whole lot about him, which we won't. But he's got a good spread for almost everything is A to C. We don't see a lot of C to F or B to D. Like catching is B to D. I spoke too soon. And catching traffic. Okay, maybe I'm looking at the wrong stuff here. What about spectacular catch? A for spec catch. Okay. It looks more like he is primed to be more of a utility player. It says he's a playmaker. So the guy that's going to maybe do a lot more with the ball in his hands rather than making plays to get the ball in his hands. We'll see what his route running ends up being, but his short route is C, which is definitely not good. You definitely want to see some more variety there. He's got B deep route, so maybe a playmaker with a side of deep threat to him, but it's going to be tough to do that with that speed. So we already know about Jordan Walker. This is the guy that I personally like. I like him because 6'5". That's all I gotta say. I love a big-bodied receiver, and I saw the comment on the post, and you guys, you told me to just get a receiver. You're giving me some extra motivation here that I don't think I really need, but I appreciate it anyway. We do find out that his speed is decent, so I don't know what that means. But with him being 6'5", I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt there. B catching traffic, B catching, and B spec catch, which is good to see. His route running definitely needs some work. Same with his release, so he might be more of a project player than I anticipated. We'll see. We will see what happens. Maybe he's a guy that I put more effort into learning more about. Like if his release ends up being a B instead of a C or a D, that might change the game for me. Just saying. Okay, here is Corbin Atkins. This is the one that they said doesn't match up with his tape. All right, so what I'm seeing here is it looks like, oh wow. So he has a horrible combine. So what I'm assuming is they meant is that he's better than what his combine says, because his combine says he's some trash. 30th in receiver, 30th in 40-yard, 33rd in vertical jump, 24th in 3-cone, 21st in 20-yard shuttle, and coming in at just 6 foot, I mean, and 23 years old. You're pretty much already off of my board. And look at his ratings, his key ratings, F, D, C, and D. All right, and then here is Isaiah Michaels. This is the one who's apparently came in overweight. 5'11", 213. I mean, I guess for a receiver, that's a little bit heavy, given that size. And it does not look like he's a very good wide receiver either. Poor speed he's got. 4.58, 40th in 40-yard dash. That is not good. But I'm looking here. His awareness should be in a good range. His ball carrier vision, break tackle, carrying, juke could be good. I almost wonder if this guy is supposed to be. I almost wonder if this is one of those out of position guys. Like maybe he's supposed to be a running back. You know, I mean that could make sense. He's 22. His catching isn't the best, but if you put that compared to what the running backs would come in at, he might actually be a pretty good option. I'm very curious to see. It says excels at creating yards after the catch, which means he's good with the ball in his hands. I'm wondering if this is maybe a tell that he is supposed to be a running back. I might have to look into him a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add him to my draft board. Oh, I have him added. Okay, perfect. I don't know where he was before, though. I can't remember if he was maybe a day 3 guy or something. The other one was Addison Woodyard. This is the guy who had apparently the slowest 40-yard dash. And let's see what that ends up being here. It was 1.01 seconds slower than Isaiah Michaels. But again, obviously not good. He's got a 6'1", 201 frame. And again, the catching and everything, the stuff that matters most to receivers seems to be his shortcomings. So you have to wonder if some of these guys are supposed to be different positions. Maybe at 6'1", I don't see him being a running back just because of the build, but I can definitely see Michaels potentially being a running back fit. Here, he just looks like a bad receiver. And then down here, Donnie Bishop, who's projected to be around 3 to 4 guy. He's the one who said he felt like the best left tackle at the combine. Has a motor that runs through the whistle, shows good discipline, and won't get flagged much. So we know he's got good discipline. Or he's probably normal based off of that, because it says won't get flagged much. So I'm assuming it's normal. Maybe it's discipline. We know it's not undisciplined, which is good for the penalty trait. And he's got a high motor. And then looking here, his combine wasn't the best. He did have over 30 on the bench press, which is good. I like to see that. But his pass blocking, his power is really low. Injury is decent, but yeah, we don't know enough about him to be able to really tell. But I always like guys with stories, because I just feel like they have a better opportunity to have something good about them if you draft them, you know. And then we're gonna go over here. We're gonna find, oh, he's right here. Look at that, Anthony Vanover. I think it's Vanover. Anyway, 6'1", 187, 22, had a huge vertical. It was only 4th. This game can't even get this right. They said he had the highest vertical. He's only 4th. Okay. D zone? C. Okay, never mind. Not 2 to 3. I mean, I see if you're day 3, but you're that low down the totem pole in the coverage category, and you're a round 2 to 3 guy? I don't think so. I don't think that makes sense. Not at all. It's going to be a difficult decisions here to find out who I want. We already know Zach Hickman is rounds 3 to 4, so unless he falls to that spot, I'm not going to be taking him. That sucks. Let's see here. Will Johnson. He's a little bit, at least more so in his range now, round 1 to 2 talent. So now that he fell out of the top 5, I think he's actually back on my board now. I would like to know a little bit more about some of these other linebackers here. I like Grant Posey so far. Those look like a lot of A's. I'd like to see if the rest of them are A's. Connor Goldson doesn't look bad either. There's a lot of good guys, man. I actually feel like this might be a strong linebacker class now looking back at it. And I'm not just talking about edge rushers. I'm talking about actual linebackers. Jimmy Brooks, he looks good. Dante Pointer, I like. He's got that A zone coverage. Same with Marshall Arnaud. All A to C. We don't know it yet. Peter Peterman, we know he's got A zone. That's good. And then over here, Daniel Quinton, we still know he's right in line with what he should be. So if we want to go after a guy like that, we know we're going to have to take him probably in the 2nd round. I don't think he'll fall to the 3rd for us. Not with us picking at like the mid-teens now. If we would have faltered a little bit more and had like a top 10 pick, maybe even a top 5 pick, definitely could have seen us waiting until the 3rd round, but we have to be a little bit more cautious with where we take these guys now. Josh Barton, I do think, is a really nice follow-up. Either one of these guys I think would be really, really good for us. I like both of their builds too. I really like this guy's name. I'd love to draft him just because of his name, Jaquan Killings. Doesn't that just sound like a badass name? I think so. And this was, I forgot to go and look at him after the story, but Antoine Foster had a really good story. I think he was named the best defensive end. 6'3", 270, listed as a speed rusher. He's only 21. Love to see that. He's 1st in 40, top 5 in 20 yard, just outside of top 5 in 3 cone, top 5 in vert. Pursuit, play rec, tackle. Those are good. D injury. I'm starting to go away from worrying about injury too much. This game is just so all over the place when it comes to this stuff, you know? If you have like a bunch of dudes at 91, 92, and then the lowest guy is an 87 injury, they'll say they have D injury, but yet they have 88 injury. So I have to stop trying to like associate. I've got to get that out of my head, and I do it. I know I do it. I would probably cringe if I listened to Spack on some of my takes about it, not having that click in my head where it's like, just because it says D injury does not mean he's going to have like a 60 or 70 something injury. He might just have an 86 injury when a majority has 89 or 90. So I'm trying not to let that derail my plans too much. But looking around here, there's some other guys too. I really like what I saw out of McManus though on the last couple of weeks. So I don't think I'm gonna be targeting these guys, at least not early anymore. To me, it just doesn't make sense. I want to see McManus at his full strength and see what we can do with him. Plus now Grenard being a superstar, that just completely changed the game for him. There's no need for me to ever even consider that until he starts regressing or his contract is up. So I'm happy there. D tackle, I still think is an area we should address at some point. I like Broussard, I just don't know if he's going to progress enough right now with being at normal. There's another guy that's sort of like him way down here, right here, Alfonso Redman. Day 3 guy, 6'4", 360 pounds, 21 years old. He's got some pretty decent key ratings for a day 3 guy, B block shed, B tackle. His power moves are a C, so really that's not too bad either. I don't care about his combine reports. I just like seeing that he's got some good initial ratings, and plus with his size, I mean, he's definitely on a guy that's on my board, and I want to see more of. I don't know if I want to go with another guy like Babineau, because I think we already have that in Blacklock, and it just doesn't make sense to have so many guys that are small. We need to have some big dudes in the middle, you know, so I'm still completely lost on quarterbacks. I definitely am going to have to spend maybe 2 on the quarterbacks. I need to see what Gilbert is. I need to see if he projects properly. And I also need to see maybe one other guy. I don't think I need to anymore, because these guys are all going to be way out of our range now. I think we're not picking till like 12 or 13 or something like that. So it's really on Gilbert. Maybe Kevin Lake could be an option because he doesn't have that top 5 grade. But I feel like these round 1 to 2 guys is where we're going to start kicking into our picks, because these guys might go between, you know, 6 and 14 or something like that. I know there was another guy they talked about down here somewhere, I thought. Or did he get moved up now? Oh, it was Tommy Lucas. He got moved up a little bit. He had another one, but I don't know if I want a strong arm. I have bad luck with strong arm guys, so I'm probably going to avoid that at all costs. And then looking at the running backs, I might draft one later as more of a project and, you know, backup kind of role. I haven't really done much looking on these guys, though. I have some of them on my draft board, but my draft board is huge right now. But I do want to take a look at some of these guys eventually. Not maybe the undrafted guys. Well, who knows? Maybe I could just take a late flyer on some if I like some of them. All right, let me shut up now. Let's go ahead and let's get to these free agents and see what the market has for us this year. Wow, big fish already in the pond. Tristan Wirfs, right tackle. I mean, I'm not going to bring him on. We don't have the money for it. Well, even if we did, I don't want to spend it on him, but it's crazy to see him out here. Let's just go right to here. Tom Brady still trying to force his way to be a player. Dude, just retire, man. Just give up. Jeez Louise. Daniel Jones is out here. Trevor Baker. Oh, that's weird to see him. He's a young guy. Cam Akers out here. Tony Pollard back in the free agency. A.J. Dillon, that's a big running back. I like A.J. Dillon, even though I'm not a Packer fan. Receivers, Mike Evans is available at 31. Wow. T. Higgins is available. Marquise Brown available. Jerry Jeudy. Oh, man, there is some really good receivers available right now. Ryan Edwards, Laviska Shenault. I was seeing some of the wide receivers out here, and as much as I would like to bring in a guy like Jeudy, I just don't know if I want to spend that kind of money to bring in a receiver. I mean, that's going to be a lot of money, 12 mil a year. It's going to cut out a lot of our salary cap, and I'd rather bring in a young guy. I don't want to stunt the growth of these guys. I just want to start seeing more guys as well. T. Higgins is very, very tempting to me, though. He would give us a number 1 immediately, but he has no interest in signing with us. He has no offers, though. None. That is weird. Figured he'd have an offer immediately. Marquise Brown is another one. I just feel like we have that already in Brandon Cooks. There's not much point in bringing another guy on like that right now. Not at that contract anyway, at that amount. The only one I could see here would possibly be T. Higgins because of his size. I like Jeudy, but at 6'1", I definitely want to use Slayton more, and Slayton is sort of that role for us where he's not that big body guy, but he can sort of do it all. Gabe Davis is another decent option, but I'm not seeing too many that I would really want to just change the course of our receiver room for. Jedrick Wills Jr. is available. That's somebody I didn't think we would see available. And Jonah Williams, some really good tackles here. I mean, obviously we're set at tackle, so if we would bring somebody in, it'd have to be a rookie once Tunsil's contract is up. So unfortunately, I don't think we'll be able to take any of these guys in, but we could bring in a guy like Greg Little. He's got high interest in us. He has no offer, so we can always come back to him. He's younger and the same overall as Eric Fisher. But Fisher does bring us a mentor role. However, Tunsil is not somebody that needs mentoring anymore. I am considering bringing on some more mentors for the line to help get our guys better, like Kenyon Green and James Pearson. So this is something we'll end up coming back to bring on somebody to help with that process. We do need another center. I know that. I'd love to bring in a guy like Biadasz because of the uncertainty with Pearson. But I would probably do it with a guy like Nick Harris, right, instead. And again, these guys don't really have offers right now, so I'm not too concerned with them yet. Or we could bring in a guy like Trey Hopkins, give us a mentor role there. That would be a smart move. And then going to the defense now, this is where it's going to start picking up to where I could see us bringing somebody in. Javon Kinlaw is available. That could be an interesting addition. He doesn't have any interest in us, that is for sure. But he would become our second defensive tackle. He would bypass Blacklock, who I think Blacklock had a decent season, but he just doesn't have the tools to really make that many plays. Then the question becomes, do you want to bring in a guy that's only a couple overall better? But Kinlaw is a guy that could also make a difference for us. Montez Sweat is available. That's always an interesting guy every time he's in free agency. This guy can't stay on a team to save his life in Madden, I swear it. Nobody ever wants him. Rashawn Gary is available, but he does not fit our system, so that sort of doesn't make sense. So Chasen is another guy, but he just doesn't fit our role either. Neither does Wanham. And that's a lot of the problem with these outside linebackers is they don't really fit our system. Oh, man. Oh, I think we're going to have to make a play for some linebackers here, guys. Devin White is available. I've got to make an offer on him. I know his interest level is low, but I've got to make an offer on Devin White. I say we go very player friendly. 4 years, $50 million. Let's see where we stand with that. We're tied with the Jets. Devin White would literally change our defense. I mean, I love Christian Harris. I do. I thought he played well. I do. But my God, adding Devin White to this locker room would be absolutely tremendous. And Patrick Queen is another option, but man, I would much rather have Devin White, a superstar, 26 years old, 92 speed at linebacker. At linebacker, are you serious? That is game changing. That's team changing right there. His zone isn't the best, not as good as it could be, but I don't even care, man. We got to try to bring in Devin White. Got to. No other way. I mean, honestly, I could even bring in Patrick Queen, and I could have him start outside. You know, if we brought in those two guys, that would open the door for our draft, because this would make our linebacker core. Queen, White, and Greenlaw? Man, that would be killer. I mean, Christian Harris would pretty much be done and over with at that point. We wouldn't be able to keep building him, which does suck, but I can't control the fact that he's normal dev, 73 overall. I can't change that. You know, we'll come back to Queen, but I am definitely all in on Devin White. Oh, wow, and we even have some really good corners out here, too. Jalen Johnson, Bryce Hall. That just doesn't make sense. Antoine Winfield, shut up. I must have missed him. I would have kept him on the Buccaneers, but I can at least see it. He's 26. You know, the Bucs are a team that I think are right now in a rebuild. They have a couple of nice safeties, but we don't really need a safety. Not like that. We have some guys that I really want to build up, so I'm not going to bring in a safety like that to replace them. I'll bring in reserve guys, you know, down here somewhere. But I definitely am not going to be bringing in somebody that is going to take away from them growing. I'll probably bring in some mentors in these situations, to be honest with you. So right now it looks like Devin White is definitely somebody we have got to target. And I would say Patrick Queen is another one. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to offer Patrick Queen as well. His interest level is a little bit better, but I'm still going to offer him some more bonus. See what that does. All right, so that puts us way at the top of the list for Patrick Queen. And now we're at the top of the list for Devin White. I want to bring this up a little bit. I am not losing this to the freaking Jets. No way. So here's a player that we could potentially try to bring on as sort of a second chance in the league. Jeff Okudah, former Lion, of course, 6'1", 200 pounds. He's 25 years old. He wouldn't be a starter, but he would be here for us to rely on. And we'd have a stacked room, because then we would have King, Stingley, Williams, and then we'd have Okudah, Joseph, and David Long, the three young guys. So we'd have a group of 6 that we could really lean on to see, you know, which one of these guys is going to show out and have a stacked corner room. I think I might offer him a contract. Just do a neutral offer, see where we stand. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it at that. We're tied with the Patriots. I'm not going to overpay for him. He's got good interest in us, and just see where it falls. Okay, so what I did was I offered him a 5-year deal for $72 million. It's a good deal. It gives him what he wants. I just didn't want to do a 6-year. But if we miss out on him, we miss out on him. I'm not going to give him, you know, $90 million. I just can't do that. If it's going to come to that, I'm just going to draft a guy and hope that we hit in the draft. We also have Patrick Queen, who I think we will land, where we outbid everybody. And we'll either use him at middle or we'll slide him outside. It at least gives us another complimentary piece at linebacker. And then I also have the offer in on Okudah right now. Those are the guys that I'm targeting in this round anyway. I would like to try and get at least all 5 done before we advance, but I don't know if there's many players that I really need right this second. Not guys that are game changers. Like Reeder could be a game changer, but he's also 30 already. We could bring in a guy like Fletcher Cox. I mean, I guess I don't know if we're even going to land a defensive tackle in the draft or not. Reeder would be a scheme fit, but there's a stark difference from what he's going to want. Plus, with him being an interested in here, it might end up playing out to where Cox would be okay with coming here because he's got the interest in us. We won't have to pay him as much. Okay, so I ended up offering Fletcher Cox a team-friendly deal, a 1-year, $8.6 million deal. It's a little bit below what he wants, but there's nobody bidding right now. And he's 33. So we're going to leave it at that. And that gives us 4 guys that we're targeting right now. All right, so I think we are done with this wave of the free agency period. I want to target Devin White. I'm hoping like hell we can get Devin White. If we can land Devin White, this offseason is huge. Fletcher Cox immediately changes our defensive line. Patrick Queen is going to be another great addition. If we get White, I'm going to slide him over to play left outside linebacker where Cashman is right now. And then Jeff Okudah, I think, is just a guy that still has some left in the tank, and I want to see if I can unlock it, and instead of him being a lost cause in the NFL world. So those are the 4 guys that we're going to target right here in the first wave of free agency. So let's go ahead and let's eval these offers, and let's just see what happens. Okay, so Fletcher Cox and Patrick Queen have not made a decision yet. We know the other 2 have. We got Devin White. He chose us over the Jets. Screw you, New York Jets. We got Devin White. Jeff Okudah is in town. I am so excited right now for Devin White to be a part of this team. This is amazing. He is going to be changing this. Wow, this defense is going to be good. I cannot wait. All right, we've got everybody. We got Fletcher Cox. We got Patrick Queen. Jeff Okudah's in tow. Ryan Bates, Josh Jones. Everybody has decided to come to Houston. Man, this is going to be awesome. This really frees up a lot for the draft too. It really, I mean, not that it's going to change who I pick, but I'm not going to feel as rushed to pick certain positions now, if that makes sense. Like, I can go through and I can pick the very best players at each area and know that I have most of the positions covered already, which is what I like to do in the draft. I don't want to have to choose a position. You know, I want to be able to just take what is the best for me, for the team. And now I think we can do that. All right, so I just finished moving around the pieces on our defense here, mainly the linebackers, and got them in order. Take a look at this defense now. Well, he's not the guy. No. Stingley is the number one. Yeah, there we go. But take a look at this defense. This is what our starting unit's going to look like now. Fletcher Cox in the middle, next to Ashawn Robinson, Bernard, Obo, probably more so McManus than anything else by the time the season gets here. And now our linebacker core. Greenlaw was a one-man wrecking crew for us part of last year. And now he's going to have a running mate in Devin White and Patrick Queen, all at the linebacker position. Frank Bonner, we're going to have a veteran here to help him grow. Jalen Petrie is now a superstar. Bernard is turned into a superstar. Stingley is turned into a superstar. This is going to be awesome, guys. I think this defense is about to turn up this year. All right, and that brings us to our very last round of free agency. I'm not going to go through all of the different ones, but I am going to bring in a few more guys for depth. Tony Jefferson, also mentor Frank Bonner. Trey Hopkins to also mentor James Pearson. And then Kenny Robinson just to be the backup for Jalen Petrie. And this would pretty much round up our entire roster. And then it's really just left for the draft. So let's go ahead and let's see what we get after this next eval period. All right, so still waiting on the safeties. Man, these guys they just will not quit, huh? All right, so we ended up getting the last couple of guys to sign as well with our safeties. So let's take a look here and see what our free agency class is like. We already know the big fish, Devin White, coming to Houston along with veteran defensive tackle Fletcher Cox, another solid linebacker, Patrick Queen, and I just realized both these guys played together at LSU. That is awesome to see. So we have an LSU tandem at linebacker. Jeff Okudah, sort of a project. See if we can give him a reclamation story here in Houston after his time in Detroit. Ryan Bates is going to be one of our depth pieces on the line. Tony Jefferson is going to help Frank Bonner along. Trey Hopkins help James Pearson along. Josh Jones just provide that young development backup role player on the left tackle position for us. And then Kenny Robinson, just a backup reserve player, still young enough to be able to improve him a little bit. And yeah, I'm really happy with this. Yes, it was very defensive oriented, but that's what we needed the most. I think there's a lot of options for us in the draft when it comes to the offensive side of the ball. So I'm excited. And we do have a few more reactions here for the prospects. No question, Dane Edwards is rising up boards after today. The tight end showcased a huge catch radius at his pro day. If you have seen game tape of left end Jeremiah Capobianco and you compare his pro day footage, you'd never know it was the same person, which means to tell me he had a really bad pro day because I think he had a good story about his play throughout the season. And then the last new one, was excited to see Michael Dickinson, but he didn't stand out at his pro day, a bit concerning for the tight end. All right, so now that the free agency period is over, let's just sim to the last free agency week. And then we'll get to the recap, and we'll recap what's all gone down across the rest of the league. Before we get into the free agency recap, though, I do want to do our private workout selection, so let's go ahead and take care of that right away. So we already have sort of decided that it doesn't pay for us to scout these top 5. Right? Most of them are quarterbacks anyway. I want to know more about Dylan Gilbert, so we're going to add him to the list. I also want to know more about Jordan Walker. Definitely want to know more about him. And then, you know what? I have decided I'm going to do a second one on a quarterback. Philip Donald here. I just want to see. I mean, is it something where we need to maybe consider moving up to get him if he ends up being that much better? Maybe Gilbert isn't who I think he is. I'm not sure. So we're going to do the one on Gilbert. We're going to do the one on Jordan Walker because I want to see what he's got. I really like him as a receiver. And then we're going to do it on Philip Donald to see what else we can find out and get his talent unlocked. So that is all of them. Let's go ahead and confirm it. And now let's see where the league went with all these players. We'll start off, we'll go through quarterbacks. So the Panthers have signed Tom Brady. That just is so weird. Baker Mayfield. I just put Mayfield back there and he had a good season. Like, well, did Tom Brady just go away ever? Jameis Winston is going back to New Orleans. Cam Akers going to Detroit. Tony Pollard to Atlanta. Damian Williams going to the Browns. Gio Bernard to the Ravens. Mike Evans also going to the Lions, so that makes that team a heck of a lot more interesting, especially with Colin Hudson at quarterback now. T. Higgins to the Patriots. Also Marquise Brown to the Patriots. Jerry Jeudy to Chicago. Gabe Davis to Jacksonville. Van Jefferson to the Titans. Mooney to the Niners. Edwards to the Commanders. Chenault to the Colts. Okay. Duvernay also going to the Jaguars. And that's pretty much it for the big names. Denzel Mims ends up landing on a team with the Colts. So Trent Brown ended up going to the Patriots. Wills Jr. went to the Jets. That's strange. Don't they have, what's his name? Oh, Becton is a right tackle. Never mind. Jonah Williams to the Bucks. The Bucks also got Muti at left guard. Let's put together a decent team. Jets also getting Biadasz. I don't know if I'm saying his name right either. Biadasz? I don't know. And then Wirfs ends up signing with the Chiefs. How the heck did they have enough money for that? Montez Sweat and DJ Reed are both going to Denver. That's interesting. Rashawn Gary goes to Cincinnati. DJ Wanham to the Saints. And here we go. The corners were aplenty this year. Darius Slay going to the Chargers. Awuzie going to the Baltimore Ravens. Jalen Johnson to the Jaguars. Bryce Hall to the Bucks. Casey Hayward still playing, going to the Miami. James Bradbury to New England. Henderson going to the Ravens. Callahan to the Denver Broncos. And that is pretty much most of the big names that were out here anyway. Oh, Igbenogany went to the Dallas Cowboys. Okay. Antoine Winfield going to the Seahawks. That's actually a really good fit, I think. John Johnson going to the Panthers. Savage to the Falcons. Jeremy Chin going to the Bengals. Cameron Curl going to the Bucks. You guys remember last year's franchise. These two were some studs for our Vikings team. Jordan Fuller to the Lions. Grant Delpit to the Vikings. So that was free agency. Not too huge of one. Sort of my own fault because I went through and I fixed some of the contracts for some of the bigger players. I didn't expect Brady to even still be playing, so I didn't touch his. I should really just take him out of this damn league. And now let's check out this mock draft before we get to the draft and see where everything is supposed to fall. Mock draft number 1 has Philip Donald going to the Vikings, which they need a quarterback. They're the number 1 pick. They still have Will Johnson going 4th overall to the Detroit Lions. Now, I don't know if that's going to hold up or not, because usually they fall right in order, and they had Will Johnson below Matthew Johnson. Again, the Lions also don't need a quarterback, which is probably why he's up here. I don't really think the Dolphins need a quarterback either. So they have a lot of quarterbacks going right away. 3 of them going in the top 5. Matthew Johnson being the last one to New York. And then they have a couple of defenders, Antoine Foster, Russ Burnett. And then here's the 4th quarterback, Stan Gore, going to the Commanders. That's fitting. Jimmy Bates, the guy who came onto the scene during the scouting combine and the pro days. They have him going top 10 now. McAllister going to the Saints. Johnson to the Niners. A couple of linemen there. Selvey now, another defender. Brendan Hills. They got J.C. Glenn going to us. We are not drafting a defensive tackle with our first round pick. I'm 100% sure of that. I'm just trying to see here what we could be expecting. So we could have a guy like Kevin Lake available. But if we're not getting a top 5 guy, I really think that Philip Donald is the way to go. So I could see us taking Philip Donald. Not Philip Donald. What the hell is his... Dylan Gilbert. My gosh, I'm getting him mixed up. But I could see us taking Gilbert at 18. If his thing pans out here. We don't know what it is yet. We should next week after the advance. But this just shows you what we could have available to us. We're picking at 15 and 18. So we have 2, I think, prime spots. Bruce Ellerby, the big guard, he won the Best Offensive Lineman Award this year. Jimmy Fowler, the top corner, he had a good story about him. He could be available for us as well. Jerry Lowry here at 20. So we'll have our pick of the receivers pretty much outside of Jimmy Bates, who is supposed to go to the Buccaneers, which I'm okay with because I don't need another, guy who's sub 6 foot. I want a big bodied guy, which would sort of put us in line to take a guy like, do they really not have him going first round at all? Wow. Dude fell out of the first round contention? I don't know if that's right. I'm talking about Jordan Walker, by the way. This guy was like within the top 10, I'm pretty sure, with overall prospects at some point. And I'm a little concerned about this because obviously with the draft glitch happening, I don't know what's going to happen. I would like to be able to trade down during the draft. But I'm scared. I'm like scared to do it. Maybe I'll try to make a move or two before the draft starts. I would like to get an early second. Get 3 players in the top 35. All right, so I have this trade put together here with the Vikings. We would take the second round pick they have, which is the first overall pick. We would send them in return the 18th pick in the second round, a 4th round pick, and Rasheem Green to get their second round pick. I think it's a pretty good trade. It gives them the depth that they really do not have on the D-line. Green is also very versatile. He's just not going to fit in our system anymore because of all the other players we have. And they're also getting a 2nd and a 4th. So I'm going to see if they'll take this. And they do. There we go. All right, so now I feel much better. Now we have 3 top 33 picks. We have 15, 18, and 33, which is a huge, huge relief. Yes, now we will have to wait till the 3rd round. I think midway through the 3rd for another pick. So we'll be about a round and a half in between our 2nd round pick and 3rd round pick. But it's okay because we need a few key pieces on offense. I think our defense is pretty well set right now. And then the rest are going to be depth players and role players and maybe future players down the line, like maybe a lineman or two, because I know Tunsil's up to 30 now. So we got to be ready for that. All right, I got us to the NFL draft stage. It is the last stage before, of course, well, it is the stage where we start the draft. And I'm hoping that now I have some more information about these players. So let's go to the college players and see. Okay, so we know that Philip Donald is now around 1 to 2 talent. So definitely not a top 5 talent. But we know that Dylan Gilbert is around 1 talent. That is big because now that tells me that he's a little bit, maybe not astronomically better, but he's a little bit better than Philip Donald. So Dylan Gilbert now becomes our target in the 1st round. And let's see if we learn what else we learned about Jordan Walker. Okay, so we know quite a bit about Jordan Walker. 95% done. So we don't have any clue on his athleticism because of the injury. But we do know that he's got a good to average spread for awareness, ball carrier vision, and break tackle. B carry, catch in traffic, catching, and release. That's a big one. B release, D medium route, B spec catch, A short route, A run blocking. Now his deep route is a C as well, so that's not too far off. Honestly, I'm not too upset about this guy's stats right now. Let's compare him to Jimmy Bates, who is considered now to be one of the top receivers. C release, A spec catch, B run block, B deep route. So the route running seems to be a little bit better, but still so much unknown about Bates still. So really we don't know much, but what we do know is that he actually has a lot of B's, which is good. Maybe not A's, but he's got some B's and he's 6'5". So I'm thinking that if I really want to take and get us what I think is a number 1 receiver, that I got to go 15 for either him or Gilbert and go the other one at 18. And looking here at the choices, we don't really need a corner right now. Jerry Lawler is there, but we don't know much about him. We know his release is a D, so we know that that's worse than Walker. We already know that. We're not taking a lineman this early, so these guys are off the table. Now with the free agency we had, I don't want to take a linebacker this early. Again, corner is not a huge need. Left tackle is not a huge need. Running back's definitely not a need. Looking at Earl Can, one of the next receivers, D release, D deep route. I don't know, man. To me, it seems like Gilbert and Walker are the picks for us this first round. And as long as they last to 15 and 18 respectively, we should be fine. I don't foresee any reason that they don't. So I think that that's the move. I mean, that would really give us a huge competition at quarterback. We don't know what Gilbert's going to be. I don't know if he's late round 1, let's say, maybe he's somewhere between a 73 and a 76, depending on what the top player is in this class. I don't know. Obviously, we won't know if we have any generational talent in this one until we see, which obviously skews a lot of things, but we know he should be in that mid 70s range, right? Maybe 73, 74, high side 75, 76. And same for Walker. If he ends up being, I don't know much about Walker because I don't know exactly what his talent level is yet. But going off the rest of the receivers, he seems to be one of the best guys when it comes to not only his ratings, but also his size and what he brings to the table that way. So we're here at pick 1. The Vikings are picking first. It says they're going to take Philip Donald, the top quarter. He's actually the third quarterback, but he won the Heisman. So let's see if that comes to fruition or if they go off of the draft board itself with, I think it was Jason Weber, I think his name was. They do go Philip Donald. And the Dolphins now on the board. They also were going to go quarterback. I think it was Matthew Johnson they had him taking. No, they go Jason Weber. Okay. The Bills, they were supposed to take Charlie Lane, and they will do just that. The Lions were going to take... This is where Will Johnson was supposed to go. And that's exactly who goes there. The Giants were supposed to take Matthew Johnson, if I remember correctly now. Yep, and there he goes, Matthew Johnson. Pittsburgh, I believe, is going one of the other defensive ends, or maybe this was where the left tackle goes. Nope, there it is, Antoine Foster. Russ Burnett, another end, so that's 3 edge rushers now off the board. There goes Stan Gore. Everything's sticking right to the schedule for us. Jimmy Bates, yep. McAllister to the Saints. Dominique Johnson to the Niners. Braden Nixon to the Seahawks. Selvey to the Jaguars. And Brendan Hills, the free safety, to the Jets. That puts us on the clock with our first round pick. We already know exactly what Gilbert is. So I think it would be best for us to take him first to ensure we get our quarterback. And then we can take Walker at 18 if he's still there. Because we already have a great receiver now in Poe. So at the very least, if we even can't land Walker, it is what it is. But I need to make sure we get Gilbert because I need some competition at this quarterback position. So Dylan Gilbert, man of the hour. Been talking about him for how long? We're going to go ahead. We're going to make him our first round pick. Pick 15. Dylan Gilbert, hidden dev. 90 acceleration, 91 speed, along with 90 throw power and 88 change of direction. I know that the board says Walker does not go here, but they have him listed so high on the available players that I really don't want to risk losing out on him. He's right here at number 7. I know he fell a little bit, but I don't want to risk it. You know, I really don't. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to take Jordan Walker. 6'5", 225, 22 years old. We know that he's probably not the best athlete based off of what it says his ratings are going to be. Decent speed, but he's got the size that we're looking for. He'd automatically be our tallest receiver, our biggest receiver at that, almost like a tight end out there. I feel good about this. I think this is the direction we need to go. Let's see what we get. He is hidden dev as well. Jordan Walker. Okay, so speed and excel aren't the best. 88 speed, 87 excel. Not the best. But his change of direction is really good. 89, 89 agility. Jumping is amazing, 94. So I can deal with the speed. All right, to get a guy that can be this crazy over the top, I'm happy with it. All right, what is available to us here? So we obviously don't need a running back. I don't think we need a D tackle at this point. I don't think I want to go a strong safety this early. And with the signings we did, I don't think it'd be smart for us to take a middle linebacker at this point. Even though Jimmy Brooks is just sitting here. We could go, but damn, man, this is really stretching because now we're already down in the 3-4. Did he drop? Because I wouldn't have had him this high if he wasn't supposed to be this high. Did he have a bad story and I didn't realize it? Why is he up here? He's got A pass block and A awareness. A awareness, A pass block finesse. His injury is low, so that's not good. Well, it says it's low anyway. Pass block power should be good. His run blocking definitely needs some work. So this would be somebody we could target maybe next round. Kasim Branch is sitting here still. And he's got some really good stuff, it looks like. Yeah, he does. A awareness, A pass block power, A pass block finesse, well, A to B. I think we got to take him. Kasim Branch. We could slide him to left tackle. We can grow him for a season or two and while Tunsil's contract finishes out, and then he can take over. And look at the A's across the board. I think this is a perfect fit. We don't need him to play right away, so he can be, you know, his run blocking definitely needs some work, which we can work on. I'm not too concerned about that. All right. Yeah, I think we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Kasim Branch, a right tackle. And hopefully that gives us some much needed youth on the line at the tackle position. He's hidden dev as well. Oh, hell yeah. I love finding linemen with hidden dev. 6'6", 313. He's got 84 strength, so hopefully we can get that up a little bit. Acceleration is pretty good, 76. Speed, 70. That's not bad either. Wow, okay. Top of round 3 here. Let's see who is available to us. We also have another 3rd round pick. Oh, there are still some guys available here too. So it looks like some of the guys that we were potentially looking at are now gone. Anthony Vanover is still here. That was the guy who had the story about having such a good vertical jump, but his zone is a D, so I'm not going to do that. Josh Barton is still sitting here. I think that what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take one of these linebackers here. Oh, Daniel Quinton is gone. I just realized that. He went before Dante Woodard, but Josh Barton is still here. Barton was a guy that I was looking at as potentially being a day 2 guy to grow. Let's see. He's got great speed. I remember because he had zone was an A. His man coverage is an A. Awareness is an A. Yeah, I liked Josh Barton as a backup to Daniel Quinton when we were still looking at linebackers. And I'm not seeing anybody here that I really want to take at this point. What about D tackle? Is any of the guys that we wanted still here? We had a couple of guys. Alfonso Redmond is still here. That's awesome to see. And then Justin Dalton is another one that I saw that I liked. Just that big, huge man, 350. But I would like to see Alfonso Redmond, 360 pounds. But we don't need to take him yet. Let's go ahead and let's take Josh Barton. Josh Barton is another hidden dev player. 85 speed, 89 acceleration, 90 agility. We are killing it right now when it comes to the draft. We have not found a normal dev player yet. And now we are here at pick 18 again. I think this is where I would like to take... I would really like to take Alfonso Redmond here. Looking at the guys up here. Okay, we know that the tackle could be A to C, but his finesse and power is C's. His block shedding could be as low as D. We know Redmond has B block shed, B tackle, C power move. So we know more about him than we do even these top guys up here. I don't need finesse moves for a D tackle right now. So this guy's power moves is a D. And his block shedding and tackle is worse. This guy we know is a pretty average across the board with C's, but we don't know if his tackle is going to be worse or not. And we know he's got worse block shedding. This guy just has D and F as already. I'm not a fan of that. And then the top guy here, Leland Tucker, he's got A to C tackle, which could end up being better. But his ceiling is what we know Redmond is for block shedding. And if we look, he's 23. How old is Redmond? If Redmond is younger, I'm taking him right now. He is. He's 21. Even Justin Dalton, another guy I was looking at because of his size, he has A tackle, but then D for finesse and power. The next one, maybe Jeremiah Lincoln. Hold up. Does that say 386 pounds? Jesus Christ. He's 24, so I'm not taking him. But the man is 386 pounds. Is that a typo? Wow. Okay. I'm gonna take Redmond here. I think he's gonna be awesome. Him and Broussard could be like monsters in the middle, just completely filling up. Because if you remember, Broussard I think is 340 pounds. Redmond's 360. We would have a 700-pound D tackle tandem in a couple of seasons, if of course Redmond works out. So let's go ahead and let's take him. And Redmond is, he's hidden. Redmond is hidden. 95 strength. He can't move for crap, but he has got some serious strength behind him. This is awesome. We have some more picks to make. And now I'm starting to see some of these guys that were already available to us a couple of rounds ago still here, which means to tell me that we dodged a bullet not taking them. All right, here's a couple of tight ends here. And let's see. So we have Tavon Parker, 6'5", 264, 23 years old. Catching traffic is an A. 12th in 40-yard dash. A, catching traffic, A, short route running. Nothing else that we know of. Everything else is a very wide range of B to D. And then we have Tyler Jones right next to him, who's 6'5", 21 years old. He's first in tight ends. He's first in like everything. So he's got first 40-yard dash, first vert, first in 3-cone and 20-yard. And he's still top 5 in broad jump and bench press. Oh, you don't pass on a guy like this. If my Madden skills of drafting, even from the old system, tell me anything, if you find somebody like this guy, you take him. Okay, you take them, because chances are they're pretty damn good. Top 5 in every category at tight end. Tyler Jones, day 3 pick. I gotta take him. Okay, well, we finally hit our first normal, but Tyler Jones, it is the pick. 86 speed, 89 acceleration. I'll take that any day of the week for a tight end. All right, I think CJ Barrett here is going to be the pick. I haven't been able to find anything. It's slim pickings at this point. So I think I like his build. 214, 5'11", he's 21. Obviously, he's going to need work. He's a day 3 projection, but his physicals aren't too bad. There's another guy that I found that has some decent physicals in the agility range. But a lot of these guys are not jumping off the page to me. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to take CJ Barrett. See what we get there. Okay, normal dev, 90 speed, 89 excel, not too bad. And now I think I'm going to take Ron Vick as a run support guy. Maybe somebody to grow behind Bonner after the after what's his name is gone, the guy we just signed. Can't think of his name. Oh, Tony Jefferson. So we're going to go ahead and we'll take Ron Vick here. Normal dev, nothing too fancy with the speed. All right, guys, here is our draft class, and it turns out Dylan Gilbert was pretty good, 75 overall. Jordan Walker, only a 73 overall, but I'm still okay with it. I'm happy we got a big-bodied receiver. Kasim Branch ended up being a 72. Josh Barton, a 71. Alfonso Redmond, a 73. That's a pretty nice find. Tyler Jones was a 70. CJ Barrett, a 63. Ron Vick, a 67. And then I simmed the last two, and I ended up getting a random running back, Johnny Stevenson, and then Aiden Wallace. Guys, I think that were still on my favorites list. I had a whole bunch of people and some UDFAs, and I think, well, Wallace was not a UDFA, but I think Stevenson was? I can't remember. No, Wallace I took off. I remember that. But anyway, these are the guys that we ended up getting. So once we got past round 4, we pretty much fell off a cliff when it came to players that are worth anything. But anyway, we do have a couple of nice picks for our offense now, and I can't wait to see what they're going to look like in Texans uniforms. First things first, we're going to make Dylan Gilbert look better. I don't like this guy's face. He looks like Sam Bradford. What about this face? We rock with that. Change his face mask up a little bit here. Oh, there we go. I like that. Oh, heck yeah. I like that. There's Dylan Gilbert. He looks like a Dylan Gilbert, doesn't he? What about the number? Do we have any other options for numbers? We have 3. So we have 2, 3, 7, 17, 19. Well, I don't think I'm going to go 19 or 17. We'll leave him at number 2 for now. And now it's time for Jordan Walker. All right, let's see what we got here. 84 would look pretty nice. I also have a weak spot for the number 84. No. Maybe 17? Maybe 19? We'll leave it at 17 for now. I feel like his head looks a little small. There we go. Alfonso Redmond looks like a behemoth of a man. I wonder if I can get a better sized head for this dude. There we go. Now he looks like a badass. Tyler Jones cannot wear number 80. That is only for Andre Johnson. 81? We'll do 81. Let's take a look and see what the draft ended up being. So we have Philip Donald, the number 1 overall pick, ended up being a 74 overall. With Hidden Dev, of course. Jason Weber, also a 74. He also had Hidden Dev. Charlie Lane, a 76. Will Johnson ended up being a 70, and he ends up being normal. And these top 5 defensive ends are just really getting at me. Matthew Johnson ended up being a 74. He's also Hidden Dev, so like every quarterback apparently was Hidden Dev. So far, though, we have the best one, so that's cool. Antoine Foster, Russ Burnett. Gore also a 74. So like literally every quarterback was 74. And Dylan Gilbert is a 75. So I think that is a win in our books. Let's see what some of these other guys that we could have picked would have been. Oh, so I was wrong. Jerry Lowry ends up being a better receiver than Walker. But he's normal dev. So I mean I guess that's a good thing. So Lowry and Earl Can end up being better receivers than the guy I took. Can being a hidden dev on top of it. So that's sort of sucks, but I don't care, guys. I got my 6'5" guy. I got the 6'5" guy, and that's what I really, really wanted. So I'm okay with it. I am okay with it. Grant Posey ends up being a 75. He was the guy we were looking at. Kevin Lake ended up being a 72. So the worst out of all of the first round quarterbacks. Jimmy Fowler. David Solomon, a 76. Justin Simpson, a 77. Oh, Kenny Alston, a strong safety, ends up being a 77. Paul Wheaton, a 75. There's a lot of good players in this draft. Dang, look at this. We took Kasim Branch. The very next pick is Nick Schumer, who is 3 overalls better. Is he hidden dev as well? Yeah, he is. Jesus. Oh, man. So that's another L for us. Chris Gills, another L. And he had 96 speed. And hidden dev, but he wasn't 6'5". So JC Glenn ended up being a 73. Chip Widener, a 74. Jimmy Brooks, a 76. That would have been an awesome pick. 89 speed, 90 excel. Sam Patterson. So many guys that I was looking at that I decided to pass on. Oh, there's Jeremiah. Oh, wow. 75 and hidden dev. That would have been a pretty damn good pick for D tackle. There's Jaden Cheeks. The other free safety was a 76. Oh, speaking of that, where is Hickman? I need to see what he ended up being. And, oh, here's Hickman. He was only a 71, but he had hidden dev. Damn. So he ended up having 73 zone, well, 74 zone, 84 speed, 87 hit power. Oh. At the end of the day, is the overall really that much of a difference? But hey, we didn't need a strong safety. He wouldn't have played linebacker for us anymore after our free agency. So I'm just going to chalk it up as it is what it is. And then where is the other linebacker I wanted? Daniel Quinton, here he is, only a 71, but he also had hidden dev. 87 speed, 89 excel, not great. Yeah, so yeah, it's all right. So overall, I don't think we did too bad in the draft. But I got the guys that I wanted at least. So, I mean, okay, so he was the same overall as Barton. Otis Aldridge was a guy that I probably should have taken him. Oh, and he was hidden dev. So go screw yourself, Madden. Go screw yourself. I passed on him twice. Oh my gosh. Peter Peterman was even good. All right, I'm going to say that even though we got some good players, I'm going to have to give myself a C in this draft. Let me know what you guys think below on this draft. I feel like I missed on some prospects. I really did. I mean, I'm happy with some of the guys that I found, but there's obviously was a better talent pool out there, and I missed the mark on quite a few of them. All right, well, I'm hoping I'm not telling you some bad news about the franchise file and that we're in preseason. But anyways, this has been a long episode again. Appreciate you guys so much for watching. Please, again, make sure you drop that like. Sub if you have not already and you like what you're seeing. Turn that bell notification on so you know when I upload these Texans videos and anything else that I'll be doing on the channel. And I'll see you guys next time.